Hey, this is Chris Barnes from 6 Feet Under. You are listening to the Phantasm Podcast. Rip out your ears.
Just took that knife and I cut her from her neck down to her anus, and I cut out the vagina.
Corey Gorechrist and Dr. Vincent West here with the mighty Chris Barnes of 6 Feet Under. And how you doing today?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. How you guys doing?
We're great. I want to ask you real quick before we get into 6 Feet Under. We got Torment coming out with February 24th on Metal Blade. We're really excited for that. But first, since I've never got a chance to ask you, I want to talk a little bit about some things in Cannibal Corpse, if you don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
Really, I think, to me personally, Eating Back to Life is one of the greatest death metal albums of all time, if not the best, to really kind of set off everything for how death metal followed thereon. So, just a quick, what is your lyrical influences coming into that record? And
lyrical influences. Well, I was fairly new to writing lyrics at that point. I'd written some with my previous band Leviathan and some with Tyrant Sin. Not too much. Yeah, not too much. But so I think on that album, it's kind of hard for me to remember exactly where I gained my inspiration. It's always been pretty much the same, just my own imagination and just listening to the music and kind of letting that take me into into a place where I can find the puzzle pieces for the song, for what I'm doing. But a lot of the stuff on that album I collaborated with lyrically with Jack and Alex.
Right.
So we kind of did a few songs together on that one, and then there was some song, like the song Bloody Chunks, that was based on a story that some friends of mine that were living in New York City told me about when they were living there. And I just kind of imagined the whole scenario that they were trying to convey to me, and put it to music. So that was kind of new. That was a new idea for me that I tried out with that one. And like songs like Put Them to Death, I think I was in deep thought about the death penalty and stuff. Though I was writing songs that had to do with violence and murder, so I was at that point, I think I was going within myself, trying to justify, and think about those things that I was writing about, as well as maybe at that time there was a discussion on the death penalty that maybe it was filtering into my psyche, and I was just like, well, I'm writing about all this murder, I need to maybe think about this too, So I mean, that's what a lot of people are like, well, I like when you were in Cannibal Corpse because you didn't write about political stuff like America the Brutal, or you didn't write about religious things like Death Plot. Well, I did. I wrote about, political stuff like Put Them to Death, and then, religious stuff like Vomit the Soul. So,
right. I'll say we've used the clip "Fuck You" from Put Them to Death a lot on this podcast, so we appreciate that very much. No, that's definitely the Doctor's favorite song as well.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I tell people all the time, there's three people, Chris, that I consider don't get any respect or any credit, and to me, you define the genre, and that's Will from Mortician and you. And you guys, to me, that's it. That's the blueprint for death metal.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man.
Will's a great guy. I've known him for a long time. So.
Yeah, we've been trying to track him down. That's not somebody we've not had the pleasure of yet, but we have you today, which this is a huge honor.
That's amazing.
But kind of just, if you want to touch just briefly on, if you don't care, we're huge fans of your early work as well. So if you don't mind touching just briefly on Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean,
lyrically, I think you were just. I mean, you're the blueprint for all of it. Your vocals, but the lyrics as well.
Oh, thank you. I thought that's always nice to hear. I put a lot of thought, energy into the lyrics, and I'm not sure how it happens, but it comes together pretty cool. So to me, anyways, there's some neat storylines and stuff that go through both of those albums, especially.
Right.
Yeah, Butchered at Birth was. I think that it was. I remember writing the album. Of course, I was writing it most of the time at night on headphones, sitting in bed while my girlfriend slept next to me.
Right.
And I remember I wrote the whole album on these. Had a bunch of flyers left over from some Cannibal Corpse shows, and they were red construction paper. I printed them on. I had a whole bunch left, and I wrote the whole album on red paper with black ink, and it was kind of like very, very surreal or something, man. Blood-covered paper or something. But,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I guess I was doing a lot of reading at that time. I'm serial killers as well as just horror and stuff, and fictional horror, and I think that I just wanted to portray that within the music even more solidly and more seriously, with more of a real horror feeling to it, like, and kind of, I guess I just went into myself and kind of felt that music with the way it was being played and how we kind of switched up our sound a little bit on that album.
Right.
A little more concentrated, so I felt like I had to match, the depth of the guitar tone vocally and lyrically too. I think that was all. It's always been tied in to kind of paint a broad picture with what I do. Is like those two elements come together. It's like, duality, like anything else we do.
Sure.
So, yeah. So that album, I was very. I just remember being very concentrated and knowing what I wanted to do, and that's why I didn't. And those guys were too with the music, and that's why I kind of took over doing all the lyrics myself. Although
right.
I loved the way Jack and Alex and Paul helped on Mangled, on Eaten Back to Life. So
right.
we all clapped, they all lended a hand on that, and I didn't mind working with Alex and Jack. Working with Paul was always kind of a battle because we grew up together pretty much, and it was always a competition, I think, on a certain level.
Trying to out-brutal each other. And
but he always had an affinity for writing, too, and
right.
I think he always wanted to write more, and at a certain point I kind of was like, but I don't want to sing anyone else's thoughts. I want to sing my own thoughts.
Sure.
And stuff, and so yeah, like with Butchered, it was cool because I think it's a very complete album, lyrically and musically, and production wise. It's very solid. It's one. It's everything I kind of envisioned. The artwork, when I received the artwork,
oh man, it's one of the greatest.
I was I was blown away by Eaton because it was large and it was really a lot to it. And
yeah, it was a very vibrant cover for what it is, you know.
Yeah, and it was just so much too. I was enthralled with it, but as soon as I opened up, because I got all the artwork first before like the label did or anything, Vince would send it to me, and I'd
awesome.
be sitting there looking at it. I'd open the package. I opened the package for Butchered. I was like, yeah, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, I couldn't believe it. So, and Metal Blade, I think I wasn't there when they got it, but I think when they got it, they all like kind of sat down real quick and were like, what the hell are we looking at here? You know, so it's just, that was just a, you know, down to the photo session with that Joe Jerome did,
right,
with the red lighting and everything that I had him do on the back of the album. And, you know, it just kind of all, everything came together on that album, and that's what I remember most about that. And, you know, Tomb of the Mutilated, I think, continued in the same way. I mean, it's a little bit, I want to say it's more, seems more lyrically scripted movie-wise as far as storyline goes.
I'd say it's a lot more of a morbid record. I think little touches made it a lot more morbid than it is. Like the Arthur Shawcross sample in Addicted to Vaginal Skin is crazy.
Yeah, I think with Butchered putting the two quotes on the liner notes,
that was good too. Yeah.
Yeah, those were things that I really caught my attention about. How and I didn't have those. I don't think I had those solid in my head, like I was going to use that in the liner notes for those two quotes. While I was writing the lyrics, but I know there were things that I had come across in my readings and stuff at that time, and I thought that because I was writing about such real sickly things on Woodfit Earth, and that those were good representations of how sick humanity could be through the years, through the centuries, and
right.
And then with the Shawcross confession, I felt like you know, I was still reading a lot, obviously. That tape was included with a book, you know, and I felt like that was just taking it to the next level. Instead of having quotes, you know, now you have the actual person's voice, and then you've got the lyrical content is a little bit more reality based.
Yeah.
And on Tomb of the Mutilated, although it's still, you know, there's still fantasy there too.
Sure. Yeah. That's great. And then in Necropedophile, the most morbid track I think you guys still have created, because at the end of it there's like children playing on a playground. I always thought that was sick, but it's awesome. You know, it's you feel guilty for liking it so much, but I think it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting. It was like, I think it was springtime, early summer, and I was living in this apartment, and it was like a duplex. I lived upstairs, and
right.
It was right next to a church, and it had like an elementary school. So I slept late at the time. So
right.
I would get woken up by these kids, man, making noise right outside my window every single day. So,
right.
You know, I'd be up late writing lyrics. I was like, man, tomorrow morning I'm gonna get this on tape. So I felt like that was my revenge to those children for waking me up. I was gonna slaughter them in the song.
That's awesome.
In the most horrifying way possible. So that's how I kind of do things. So.
Well,
it's honest and it's great. That's what we love about you.
You really set the bar on that record. I mean, the cover art, the songs, everything about it. Your appearance in Ace Ventura, just briefly, but I mean, just everything, Chris. I was a teenager at the time when that came out, and I remember seeing you guys on that tour, and it blew me away. Like every one of my annual photos, I would try to look like you. I would try to put my hair in my face, and I mean, it was. So it's. I mean, I just tell you how much we love that record. It's just every bit of it. But it's you set the bar with it too. I think people still try to catch up to that record, and it's a
very high bar that was set.
I know what you're saying. I understand that, and I think they forget about Butchered at Birth too, because I think
oh god, it's a great look. Everything you're on, all 4 records
on that one, yeah, and it's.
I think for Butchered to go from Eaton to Butchered, because Eaton was such a great record. Butchered, you guys seemed like you were veterans already. Like you guys already had everything established, and the sound was already there. It's like you guys have been doing it for a long time. Like Eaton wasn't even your first album. It's hard to do that for a band, to really find your sound and hone it in on on a sophomore release. And you guys nailed it. I mean, you guys set the bar then. So
well, it was just a lot of hard work, and we would rehearse 6-7 days a week sometimes, and we were in the rehearsal space in our room there for 3.5 hours a day.
Right.
And we're talking for like four years or something. Pretty much while we're in the beginning it was like 88 to 90 when Eating Back to Life came out, so it was like almost 2 years of non-stop rehearsal there, not even hardly playing show. We would do local shows and some regional stuff, but it was, our concentration was working in the rehearsal space, and that's how we became proficient at what we were trying to accomplish, and that just kept going on between. I think we a lot of those songs were early songs that were on the demo on Eaton, and like you could tell as you get to like Buried in the Backyard was the last song we wrote on that album.
Right.
So it's kind of there. That's where we started going. We started to learn what we wanted to do a little bit more at the end there.
Definitely.
Because there was a big gap, between the demo and writing, the end of the writing for Eaton, and then we went and did the record. And so there kind of went, real hard with concentration on what we wanted to do for Butchered, and then it just kept going for Tomb. Even after we toured and stuff, it kind of, we learned even more about what we could and what we wanted to do.
We can't tell you how much we appreciate those records. I mean, as death metal fans in general, and just music in general, honestly, that's just.
I mean, those things stand the test of time. I think your classic logo for Cannibal, I think, is still something that I'm proud that I have on a shirt. So,
and on the CDs, the original releases that I have, they got the classic.
Yeah,
Cannibal.
yeah. Those are always good too, because they're the original mastered versions of the album.
That's the ones I have.
Are much superior to what they put out.
Yeah,
a few years
and
back,
a couple live tracks they put out, with George and stuff, which is, it's cool, but I'm a collector guy. I like more of the originals myself, and I like the logo better on the way it looks and everything on the original pressings for sure.
Yeah, well, that's nothing to do with me, guys.
Yeah. Oh no, we know that. We really just appreciate all your hard work and all that stuff. Like I said, I think you set the bar and you're the blueprint for it. I really do. I just want to thank you, because it's something that I don't think you're given nearly enough credit for, and that's why we wanted to take a moment before we get to 6 Feet Under, just to let everybody know that.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, you're a god as far as I'm concerned, and Corey's concerned in death metal. So
definitely, I know the. Getting into 6 Feet Under, I actually heard 6 Feet Under before I heard Cannibal Corpse. It was within like a week, because I'm a younger guy, but this is the first 3 metal records I ever heard. It was Haunted by 6 Feet Under, Arise by Sepultura, and Chainsaw Dismemberment by Mortician. So I got I got a pretty good mix there to start with, and then I got handed later on a mix CD of the first 4 Cannibal records, so it didn't take very long, and all the other stuff to follow.
Yeah. Good schooling there.
Yeah. So Haunted, I absolutely loved. The second I heard it, I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's great. And one of the first times I had probably tried marijuana, I was very young, so that probably didn't, probably helped the mood of the album a little bit too.
Absorb it. Sure.
So talk a little bit about 6 Feet Under, your transition and what you wanted to accomplish with 6 Feet and how that started and everything.
Well, yeah, that's, well, at the time, I wasn't really into where things were going, I guess I personally, in the band and Cannibal Corpse, so I wanted to venture out and start something new, and I was thinking about it for a while, and I was in, it was one night on the tour we did with Obituary and Agnostic Front and
oh wow,
Malevolent Creation in '92, in the summer of '92. I think we were in.
It's a killer show.
I think we're in. Pretty sure it was in Phoenix or Albuquerque.
Awesome.
I think it was Phoenix, but I was talking to Trevor from Obituary, and it's like, man, Trevor might be a cool dude to have in this band I'm thinking about. And he introduced me to Al. He introduced me to Alan West, and in the back of the bus on the Obituary bus, and it was an early show on the tour, so we hadn't all got to know each other that yet. We were still living in Buffalo. We knew Obituary, Donald and it's pretty much Donald, I think, and Trevor from our time at Morris Sound early on. But the other guys we didn't know too much. I met Al for the first time that day, and man, me and Al kicked it off right away. And he said something to me. He's like, I'm thinking about starting a band, and it just, I was like, well, so am I, man. let's do something together.
Right.
So over like that next year and a half, we started putting these songs together, demoing out songs for Haunted.
Right.
And the first 3 songs were Still Alive, Lycanthropy, and Human Target, I believe.
Awesome.
And I started writing those songs right the same day as I finished writing the lyrics for The Bleeding.
Wow.
So so that was kind of the transition there. It was kind of seamless and interesting, and it pushed me. That's why I like the music. Was it pushed me into a new rhythm to write lyrics to, and to I felt like to say something that I wasn't going to be able to say within the rhythm structure of Cannibal Corpse. And
yeah, definitely.
Personally, I was not really too thrilled to be around anymore, and I felt like, the cool thing about 6 Feet Under and that album and Haunted and those songs were something I liked about the Cannibal songs early on, that we had those middle parts that were really chugging and really heavy, and the pits would get really, really crazy because the rhythm, the pounding rhythm, would just get them. You feel like that pounding. So like within that mid-paced structure, I felt like 6 Feet Under could always be like the opposite. Like instead of fast and then slow, we could use maybe more mid-paced, slower type of rhythmic pounding, and then heavy, fast parts, breaking those parts up. And then, that was kind of like, I was hearing some of that within those songs on Haunted. I was feeling like, that could be my focus on my next kind of step. And then that album came across.
You guys definitely nailed it.
That way to me, and that. When working with 6 Feet Under through the years, that's been my focus of always kind of driving towards that goal to achieve those things, then in different ways, and keeping it exciting.
Well, you definitely nailed it with the first release. Haunted's great. It has a really good pace to it. It's still very pissed off and heavy too. It's just a great start to a new beginning, and we'll go
thanks,
to
guys. Yeah. That's we did that tour in December where we did the whole album. That was a lot of fun. So
yeah.
That's amazing. I wanted to just because you have such a big catalog, and I know we probably burn a lot on some other stuff, but I wanted to just tell you as a fan, as a fan from the beginning of your work, Crypt of the Devil blew me the fuck away.
Oh, all right.
I love that record,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
The lyrics on that record, and I just, the first thing I hear if it's Open Coffin Orgy, I was like, well, I'm buying that. That's,
Yeah, man. I mean, it's some pretty gloomy type of atmospheric gore, I guess, on that. It has that macabre type of eeriness to it.
Loved it. Is that you and Landfill, wasn't it, from Municipal Waste?
Yeah. Phil's a great guy, man. Awesome writer, and has a great understanding of death metal and everything. And he came up with some really cool songs, man, with some great ins and outs. And he helped me collaborate. Helped me kind of do things a little different with the ideas about vocal structure and different things like that, which I hadn't tried before either. So I was kind of pushed into a different way of writing myself, and some interesting things came about on that one by doing that, I felt. And it's a pretty cool album for sure. The artwork is really great too. Mike did a great job.
Yeah, I love the artwork for it, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, when you first heard about Cannabis Corpse, what did you laugh really hard?
Oh, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I thought we missed the boat. That should have been our name. I mean, and then when I heard that Randy Blythe, he did some dates with them, and he told me, he's like, Chris, I went out with those guys, and I he's like, I used your name, but I changed it to Chris Bongs. And I was like, that's even worse. I wish I would have had that stage name from day one.
Right, yeah.
It's perfect. So,
Randy's a great guy too.
I loved it right away. I don't think everybody got it, but I think everyone, they've given their blessing to him. But yeah, man, I thought it was so cool, and their artwork is awesome, man. I mean, it's great stuff. So we went out with those guys back in 2013, and
we went and saw you guys in Atlanta. We went to that.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
it's a great show.
I think that was the last one, maybe. Yeah, the last one on that tour. But that's where I kind of met Phil, and first we started talking about things for right after that tour. I think he asked me to do that song on their last album, that Wisdom to Faked album.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. And now we'll talk about Torment a little bit. February 24th. It's coming up quick. It's already February now, so it's crazy. Talk to us a little bit about going into that record, and from your lyrical standpoint and all that for this record.
Yeah, it's kind of it's an important record to me. I feel, it's an intense record. There's a lot to it, musically and lyrically and vocally and percussion wise. So yeah, there's a lot to it, man, and there's a lot to take in. I think when you listen to this one, you're kind of blown away by it the first time, and then you really listen to it, and I've gotten some interesting reactions from it, so I think it'll take people off guard and make people pleasantly happy to hear some of the things again that they've been wanting to hear,
right?
From my side, and it's really intense. But lyrically, it's it's not a calm album. There's nothing calm about the vocals or the lyric approach or the music.
No cutesy stuff. No,
No,
can't expect
not really.
that.
Not really. I think it was pretty magical the way it came together. Jeff wrote some songs that just one after the other, and as I wrote them, it took me back to some interesting rhythm and timing, phrasing that kind of let me open up into some areas I haven't gone to in a while. But the lyrics are always pretty intense, but I mean, storylines are pretty focused and pretty savage on this one. Overall, I mean, when you look at the album cover art, you get an idea of duality, and I think that's something that's crept into my life without me knowing it or understanding it.
Looks like a Clive Barker thing or something, the album cover.
I guess, I mean, yeah.
It's a Hellraiser cover.
But so, I mean, it deals with duality and the duality of our music, the existence, our being, life, death, the singularity, the idea of I guess there's just something that drives us individually, one way or the other, good or bad.
Right.
And,
I agree with that.
Yeah, the idea of inanimate beings and thoughts from other dimensions and such.
It's deep shit. That's awesome.
The artwork for it's really interesting. Unfortunately we've only got to hear one cut off the album, but the artwork looks really interesting, Chris.
Yeah, the Sacrificial Kill is up right now, a lyric video, and then you got Jeff did a guitar and bass playthrough of Exploratory Homicide, which sounds like a ripping track. It sounds awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. The artwork is what we did. I met this guy who's become a friend of mine now. He's an artist from Indonesia. His name is Septian Devenom.
Wow.
And he is just an incredible artist, digital artist as well as sketch artist, pen and ink, whatever you have.
It's amazing.
Really incredible. And fan of ours and my work, and he presented me with some stuff that I was just blown away by, and it was kind of outlining what I was thinking about, and the cover especially, because our music can be like it is on Haunted and Warpath, and it can also be like it is on Unborn and Undead, and on this album Torment, where it's more more rhythmic, less rhythmic, more intricate and fast and just and so, like, the duality of our music is outlined within the artwork as well on the cover, and I think I've done a job on this one of trying to, with his help, and depicting the lyrical nature and the storyline, and in some way artistically and visually with in the booklet for the lyrics, like I did with Bringer of Blood. So there's artwork throughout the booklet and in the physical copy of the CD and the album. So
right. Yeah, in the lyric video for Sacrificial Kill, I think they show off little kind of snippets of that. There's like a nurse with a bloody knife, and there's like a clown in there.
Yeah.
It looks crazy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see all that stuff.
Yes, Sep did that for those pieces. The clown one is for Slaughter as They Slept.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I like to look through album and see what's going to be my favorite song, and that one sounds great. So
Yeah, and I think the one with the knife is for exploratory homicide, and he did the video, the lyric video.
Oh wow!
Completely independently. I mean, he just did an awesome job on that. I was blown away by his work all the way through this. So he's definitely had a big hand in outlining a lot of what's going on within the album. I love bringing that out with a great artist, you know, working with some of these awesome artists over the years, like Vince Locke, you know, all these guys, Paul Booth, you know, Aronson, all these dudes. So, you know, Sepkin is just one of these guys, man. It's just, I've been lucky to work with and be able to interpret the lyrics and the mood of the album.
Right. That's why it's important for us, like us fans like me and the Doctor here, you know, to buy physical media still, because we appreciate the artwork. That's half of what drove us into being fans in the first place. You know, you see covers like the first 3 Cannibal records, or like Crypt of the Devil's artwork, and Torment even. It draws the interest there from us being horror fans.
Me too.
And, you know,
I mean, even though I bought cassettes back when I was, you know, just a young metal critter, I guess. I was just buying cassettes, but still the artwork and stuff was the coolest thing, man. I mean, album covers were like, you know, like you mentioned, all those covers, you know, all the Iron Maiden covers to me were, you know, the shit, and like you know, Don't Break the Oath by Merciful Fate. So, like, you know, every album cover, it was cool to be in just kind of listen to the album and fall into the artwork and the lyrics, and you had it all right there, and you could understand it all that way and know where the artist that you appreciate is coming from, and maybe you grasp things a little bit better than just like some fleeting flash past you, you know, that, oh yeah, which is, you know, easy to dismiss that way. But if you don't try to learn about something, you know. Anyways, yeah, so, like, I think that's where the idea of having Vince do the Cannibal stuff early on, and they've continued that, obviously, but, you know, was you know, Iron Maiden with Derek Riggs, you know, and how he represented their story, you know. So that was when I found Vince, you know, I was like, man, I got to get this guy to represent us like Maiden has, you know. Like, you know, and if, you know, after Butchered at Birth, it was pretty much like he's had a job forever now working with that. So, yeah.
Hey, he's very talented, you know. It's great for him and for us fans to see his work, because I wasn't too familiar, you know. A lot of people wouldn't ever be familiar with Vincent Locke with his comic stuff. Then if you are a Cannibal fan, you're like, oh shit, you know, this is incredible. So I think bringing out these artists are part of it, because it's bringing out you as an artist, but it's also bringing out these other guys that are helping you out too, and, you know, express how the album is and the vibe of it. And I think that's very essential to the music itself. It
is, man. You got to match it up, and it's. I think it's. Well, people aren't buying physical as much as they did. I think it's hanging on, man. I hope it does for a while. You know, it's important that it does for everybody.
Yeah, the digital to me is so impersonal. Like, I still buy CDs and vinyl,
especially in death metal. You know, I
just don't. I realize digital's convenient and easy and all this stuff, and I'm not knocking it from a sales standpoint, but as a fan, it's just impersonal to me. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see where that is. I mean, I think digital is pretty cold all the way through. You know, every aspect of it.
It takes away a lot of the excitement. You know, you go to a release date and you're excited to pick up a new record, and you go to your record store and buy it, and you get to look at the artwork, you get to read the lyrics before you even hear the songs, and you know, you got
a very interesting experience, man.
Yeah, it feels really good. It's like Christmas.
It made you appreciate certain things about, I don't know, man, about yourself even, because you know, you didn't have too much information about things. You just would go to you didn't have the internet, and you barely had magazines when I was in it. going to record stores. You took a chance. You had maybe $30 in your pocket, and that was probably half of your paycheck, or as much as you could beg your mother for 3 albums or something. Right. So you had to choose carefully, and sometimes you had one of the albums you didn't like as much as the other two.
I was a CD trader growing up, so I just traded CDs for stuff. I was like, that looks cool, I'll trade you for this one that I don't like.
Yeah, or like myself, I would hang on to it. But one thing I never would do is I would never write a letter to that band and telling them how much they suck compared to
Okay,
I'm very proud of that. Yeah. Doing that, and because another reason is I may have had one of those albums I didn't like at that moment in time that I thought was, this isn't as good as this band.
Right.
But you know what? I probably listened to it 15 years down the line, and you know what? I think it holds up better than the other bands that I like. I'm not going to name who those bands are, but there's always lessons to be learned about things, and it makes you appreciate what you do, how you spend your money, having your own freedom to learn, other than being pigeonholed by everything in your life, even things that make you happy, you can't discover on your own now.
Right.
You do, but you're discovering it through other people's brains.
Yeah.
And in the way of doing things, there are no shortcuts in anything in life. You take a shortcut, you're taking a shortcut from learning and the experience. If Cannibal Corpse would have taken shortcuts and not gone to rehearsal 3 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week for those 3 years, we would have never been able to do what we did.
Absolutely.
So, if you're going to dedicate yourself, and if you love what you're doing, you're going to speak out about it, and you're going to promote yourself in the best way you can, and that's by doing the hard work.
Amen, brother. That's awesome.
I mean, I think, it amazes me how many, not Corey, but my friends will make fun. I went out Friday and bought the new Creator. My friend's like, "Why didn't you just get it?" It's like, because I want it. I want it in my hand.
Yeah, man. You went out and did the hard work, and you experienced something, man. You took a ride. You got to the store. That was always a cool experience.
I'm still rocking the CD player in the car. I listen to it on the way home. It's like, it's.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too, man. I've got my CDs in my glove box, and I think I got Rush in there right now. So.
Awesome.
But,
well, man, we want to.
Anyways, anyhow, that's the way things are now, and things change. People have a different way of appreciating things in their reality, and I'm not saying things should be the way they were, or people should do things one way and not another. I don't care. I just know how I feel about it, and there was a certain passion and a certain just a community about things that wasn't as negative as it can be, and it usually is as it is now.
Right.
So
I agree with that 110%.
Oh yeah, we both. That's very insightful, actually. Are you planning some touring for the new record?
Yeah. We're putting that all together now. People will be happy to know we're going to be doing some touring in the U.S. and
awesome,
and Canada. I'm hoping, if we can get through the borders.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now for everybody.
I do speak out against fascism and the Nazi state that we're now living in. But
of course, I'm Jewish too, so that's kind of.
I'm hoping I'm still able to cross the border and come back in legally. I don't know. I'm not sure the way things are going. It's only 10 days into this thing.
I know it's.
We might all be restricted from traveling freely. The way things are worded. So,
people don't really think about that too.
People need to not worry about what other people are saying, and if they agree, they should just listen once in a while and pay attention to what's happening, because there's where it all is use your own brains and think about things, because pretty soon you might not have a chance to do, and you might not have a chance to do anything now about it, but you have a voice.
Well, bigger people are,
because there's nothing good that's happening right now in this country.
It's not. But more people that have more of a voice, like a lot of celebrity stuff like that, they're actually coming out of their shells and stepping up and taking a stand on it. So maybe that'll help other people. I enjoy seeing the massive protests and stuff like that, and all the stuff that's going on. Should have been done a long time ago, but it's nice to see that people are like, oh, we fucked up, or So hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah,
people need to be united more than they ever have at this point, and I think during the election we got so divided, and the division of this country is so apparent. I've lost so many friends I thought I knew, and they all turned out to be like racist and like crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened with that. Yeah. He really invoked a lot of negative energy from people and influence, so I don't know where all that's coming from, but at this point, now that it's over with, we need to...
Point, you can't pick sides. Look, you're not a liberal, you're not a conservative, you're a logical, thinking human.
Yeah, and that's it.
We all have brains in our heads.
Yeah.
We're not separated by color, by party lines. That is what they want you to be separated by.
Exactly.
So you don't pay attention to the ones taking away your freedom, man. And it sounds stupid, and it sounds like, Jesus, we've heard this all before, and stop preaching to us about politics. But no, man, it's not.
No, this is serious. This involves all of us at this point with the way that all this has gone down, the last few months. It's very important that we listen to each other now, and we actually unify as a nation and as human beings. That this isn't a joke anymore. This isn't like, oh, you're some conspiracy theorist or whatever. This is not a matter of who's right or wrong or what side you are. We all need to just be one thing at this point. And if we don't, then we're going to fall apart a lot faster.
And if we don't, we're going to be forced into it.
Yeah.
We're going to be eventually forced into it.
We're already kind of edged in there now. I mean, it's just like, here's what's going on, But luckily, a lot of the states are fighting off the immigration bans, and they're suing and all that stuff,
I'm lucky. I live in a state like that is a free-thinking state, and they were at least able to kind of debate things in a rational way and look at the view of our world in a whole and our direct environment and know that no, that's not right, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to let that happen again.
Right.
So that's something I hope that'll continue, like you say, man. That people stand up and state governors and mayors and everyone like that are.
And this is an important time for music. I mean, for positive influence, and a band like 6 Feet Under to drop a record in 2017 is pretty exciting, honestly. I always look forward to your political aspects, and you're a very insightful guy.
There's no political stuff on this album, so
okay.
I will tell you guys that. This is pure horror, gore, violence, however you want to look at it, metaphorically.
Well, that's what we love.
That's what we love.
Straight up in your face.
We can use a little bit of gore and violence too, as an imaginational standpoint.
It's as heavy as you want it to be, man, and it'll take you away from all your daily nonsense or put you in a state of anger to the point of, listen, man, I have to focus my rage,
right.
And let's get to a fucking show or something.
Well, that's what metal's here for, is to channel your evil into a positive state,
That's it, man. That's it. You got it. So I hope this album helps people experience whatever they need to break away and have a good time.
Definitely.
We are definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll see you out on tour. We can't thank you enough for doing this. This is, for myself, I know for Corey as well, this is a huge honor to be able to speak with you today.
Definitely, man.
No, guys, thank you for some good questions, and it was a nice talk for sure, and I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys asking me all that. So.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Hey, this is Chris Barnes from 6 Feet Under. You are listening to the Phantasm Podcast. Rip out your ears.
Huge honor. Cannot wait to pick up the new record and hopefully see you out on tour. This was so insightful and amazing. It's such an honor.
Okay, guys. Thanks, man. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
No problem, man. And hopefully we'll see you around, and we'll keep in touch.
Excellent. We'll see you out there.
Okay, thank you. Man.